Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel, Coding with Colton. And today we're going to be talking about FreeCodeCamp's APIs and Microservices certification. So I was able to go through last year and complete this section, and I did all the projects, and I just want to talk about my experience. Is it worth it? What kind of projects do you make? And just give you a little bit of background to help you be prepared to be able to get through this section. So APIs just means application programming interface. In my own words, I would basically just say that means, you have, there's a server or a website that you can request information from and it'll send something back to you. It could be like a list of hikes or stock prices. And a microservice, I would just describe that as a simple server that does like one like little small thing. So like normally websites will have a bunch of stuff on the server that can do like lots of different things, but I would consider a microservice as just like doing a small simple thing. And so you talk to the microservice, you send a request to the server and it'll do something for you and then hopefully send you some information back. For this section, it's quite a bit different because, like the other sections, they have you use like React and you're building out a front end. But with these sections here, you're going to be using Node, and you're not actually going to like use like a React front end for these API sections, and even for the other backend sections. I'll talk about that in a minute, but so it is a little bit different. Um, they actually have you starting off like learning like what Node is um, and npm, node package manager, and some other things. And so are there are a few nuggets of knowledge as you're going through here, but honestly most of the things that I learned I had to go learn on my own from other sources. So just take that in mind when it comes to the Mongo and DB section. So you also as well, like not only are you learning how to set up a server with Node, but you're also going to need to know how to set up a database. Not all of the projects require you to use a database, but a good number of them will for the project section. And I actually did not, so MongoDB is a NoSQL database. And that just basically means like things are held kind of like a document as opposed to like a relational database where things kind of look more like an Excel spreadsheet, honestly. Everything's kept in tables. I actually did not use Mongo for my projects. I used Postgres. So that is something that you can do. You don't absolutely have to use Mongo. That is something that they, have you learn. I honestly felt like the Mongo section was kind of like confusing, and there's like some stuff that, at least when I went through it, like it was not working right, the module section. So that's something to keep in mind. But the projects themselves, they're all pretty straightforward. They have you build some simple things. Again, these projects like timestamp microservice, all of these projects, all they do is they give you a list of requirements, user store, and you have to write all the code. These projects are not super flashy, but they will basically teach you like how to set up a simple server, how to set up a simple database, and how to store some information in the database or get something back from the server. And so you kind of get a feel for just starting to do some back end work. When it comes to like what the value is, I'll get to that in a minute. I want to show you guys the actual projects themselves. So you got a timestamp and header parser and some other things. So I'll basically just kind of show you what they look like. Basically looks like this, it's nothing fancy. So if you're going to show these projects to employers, I would say these are like maybe some like side projects or things they can kind of help you along the way of learning to do some really nice personal projects to put on your portfolio if you want to get hired. But if you were just going to show an employer this, I'm not sure how much, if they would be very impressed with that. You're going to have to use your own judgment. I personally just use my own personal projects, and these are kind of just like side projects, or I won't really talk about things like this that I'm doing. But this project, basically just you click and it sends you back a timestamp. Super simple. And then here's some of the other ones. URL shortener. It'll send you back a shortened URL. And I don't really need to go through and show you guys these all these projects, but this is basically like what they look like. Here's an exercise tracker. You'll need a database for this one. So those are a few of the projects. There are 5 of them. They will take some time to get through. It says about 300 hours to get through all of them. I don't think this section took me quite that long, not even close to that, but I had come back and I finished this section after teaching myself the back end for a few months. So I kind of came back later and did this. So if it's your first round through, definitely could take you a little bit of time. So that's basically the gist of this section, and all the things that you need to do and all the things that you need to learn to make it work. Again, I would definitely recommend like looking at some additional sources besides just FreeCodeCamp to actually learn how to do the sections. When it comes to the projects, they do give you some boilerplate. Basically, just means like a bunch of starter code. So you'll clone the repo. It says right here, you got a repo that you can right here. You have a repo that you can copy and pull down some starter code. So you're not going to build a front end. It uses a template engine. So basically what that means is it'll serve up an HTML page. So it basically just gives you the front end. And all it is just like a very simple HTML page. You won't have to touch it. But all of the backend stuff, like all of the files and all the code, all that stuff, you'll have to build out and finish. So yeah. So that's my experience with completing this section. Hopefully you have learned something. Again, my name is Colton. Thank you for watching my channel, and good luck out there.